My name's Chip. I'm a junior at Keene, and I'm a film major.
My name's Sarah. I'm a graphic design major and a sophomore.
So my name is Grace, and I'm a junior here at Keene State College, and I'm a film major.
My name is Carter. I'm a film major and a Spanish minor.
If I were to make a painting of what my brain feels like on a day-to-day basis, I think it would be a lot of like tangled cords and like that really have no end, and there's really no way to unwind them. I think that my brain feels kind of like a constant, ever-changing mess that I can kind of separate. And then I have this tangle that in this knot that I can kind of start to undo, and it kind of makes things feel better. And then there's this one giant knot over here that I slowly have to start picking apart. So there's tons of tiny little knots that connect to this one giant ball of yarn, and it all comes back to one thing, and then it all kind of tangles up when things are really bad. But then slowly I can kind of undo it and take knots out here and take knots out here as things get better, and then it seizes up again.
Well, ironically, I tend to make better art the worse my mental state is. But for me, it's just like a sinking pit of, it's one bad thing after another, and that just kind of keeps me in bed all day. I don't do anything, I'm not productive, and then I kick myself in the butt for not being productive. And it's just kind of like a cycle that just repeats, going lower and lower, just like come out of my room less and less often, do less and less stuff, and I'm just like shut off from the world, basically.
I don't know, just very dark and also not like visual, but kind of like a feeling, like a suffocating feeling, like the world is crumbling around you when it's probably not, but still you can't escape it to be able to see that. Like you are literally trapped, like there is no way out no matter how much you try.
When I feel anxious, it's like, especially when I'm like in a classroom and I feel anxious, I feel like I want to leave, first of all. Like I just want to like pick all my stuff up and just get out. And I don't know, I just feel like I want to like get as far away from the situation as possible. And I feel as though the teacher in that situation would be upset at me for doing that, right? And it's sort of like, it puts this like mental battle in my mind of like, do I leave? Do I stay? Do I say something?
To see my friends really struggling and trying to reach out to their resources and it not working or not helping the way it should is very frustrating.
The best thing you can do for your mental health, like just flat out, is just surround yourself with a good friend group that's just supportive of who you are, and like they understand you, they don't care about you're falling behind in a class. It doesn't really matter to them. It's just like they're there to be supportive for you and just entertain you even. It doesn't have to be a therapy session. You can just like play some video games, watch a movie. As long as you just have those people there in your life.
I think also your support system should be like yourself and your own brain telling you like you don't have to think this way and you don't have to do these things.
I would say probably everyone I know has had at least one slum of their mental health, just like having a really bad time for anywhere from a week to a couple months since I've been here. Unlike high school, you actually have to worry about classes here. They do matter. For example, I have a scholarship, and if my GPA goes below a certain point, that scholarship goes out the window. So I have to keep up on those grades, and I have to stress about them, whether I like it or not. And that can be taxing, yeah.
I think mental health becomes very apparent to a lot of people for the first time in college. I think it's something that people don't really think about in high school. And then suddenly you're in college and everyone you know has anxiety, and everyone you know is in therapy, and everyone you know is on antidepressants, and it's upsetting, but it's nice to see the people around you getting help. I know that I have general anxiety disorder, and I think it's very common for a lot of people to have that, and a lot of them don't even know that they do, but it certainly affects my social life greatly. I have a social clock, and I can only be out with people to a certain extent of time before I get like very overwhelmed and very anxious to the point where I need to, I feel like I need to seclude myself to like take time and heal almost from like this social interaction, and it becomes very overwhelming to have to like time yourself almost. Like, I know that I've been out with people all day, and if I go for another hour, I'm going to be so miserable just mentally and stressed and overwhelmed that I'm not going to want to do it again.
I can't come to class when I am having a bulimic episode or like a really like breaking down like on the ground. Like, and what is unfair to me personally, gets me a little riled up, is that my absences are seen as if I am the same person that is going out and getting drunk and partying and then can't wake up the next day for class because they're like just blackout drunk. Like, that is just unfair to me.
I think Keene has certain resources for students struggling with mental health. And I think it's more that the student body cares about one another, and that maybe professors care about their students. But when it comes to the institution as a whole, there's certainly missing pieces. And I think a lot of people really feel those gaps when they're struggling.
There's a lot of good things and a lot of like welcoming communities here. However, I think that there are like glaring problems, not only with how it deals with students who reach out about mental health and say these are things I need, these are ways in which I need to be supportive, like in my experience, that has fallen short, but also in ways of just like, obviously that's not what we're talking about, but just ways in which there has been like dangerous people on campus or dangerous stuff happening on campus, and when we just haven't been in the loop about that. And that definitely brought my opinion down on like how it's run, but there's not much I can do personally other than kind of talk about it. I think there is like this prejudgment that professors have if you have a certain number of absences, maybe based on other things, maybe based on how you look, how you act, like whatever. I don't know, that they maybe assume reasons you're absent or also diminish them. Like, I had a professor, I was in one of my first Zoom classes this semester. I had to stay after to ask her a question, and this other person stayed after as well, and I was kind of like awkwardly just listening to her ask the professor her question first, and she said, I have anxiety attacks, and it has affected my grades last semester, and I just was wondering that like if that will like affect my grade this semester, if there's anything I can do to communicate with you, and there's no way to prove it unless I literally took a video. And she was like, kind of definitely like shut her down and was like that it will, if it's more than 3 absences, it will start to affect your grade, but also just trying to pass it off as if she was trying to be understanding. She was like, we are all dealing with a difficult time here. It was really belittling, kind of. And so that kind of set the mood for me to know what kind of professor she was.
A lot of people that don't have any, it's all very difficult for them to understand what it's like from the perspective of someone that is struggling more than them.
So when you're in a bad mental state and it's kind of hard to advocate for yourself, it's hard to do the right searching and the right digging for that kind of thing. When they are found, I do think the health services here are beneficial to the students to an extent. I think there's only a little they can do when it comes to dealing with people's insurance and things like that. But the biggest thing is offering enough of them and offering them at the right times as well.
Even if it's to the point of just like addressing teachers and like telling them, what the signs of mental health, because a student with mental health disorders feels as though that they can't, at least from my own experience, feels like they can't tell their teachers about it, right? So even like just telling teachers like, oh, these are the signs of depression or even like PTSD or like ADD. Even just like telling them like, hey, your students might have these, make sure to look out for them and help them. Like even that, like I don't even need to take courses on how to teach it because they can just show them to the resources that they provide that do help it.
It's not so black and white, and this applies to society, and it's not easily achievable, and I know that, but just to be there to be less stigma and shame in general around mental health. Again, it's not going to be like a easy task, but that is kind of the root of the problem.
If they could change courses to suit a student's mental health, that would be awesome. Like that would be phenomenal. Whether the school has the resources or the apathy to do that, I don't know.
Just put some posters around, maybe at least one per building, just advertising essentially the fact that we have resources for it. Therapy in the wellness center, give them their hours when they're available to talk, all that kind of things. I also think it wouldn't be a terrible idea to have like maybe 1 or 2 days every single month that we just cancel classes, middle of the week probably, and just say mental health day,
In the midst of a pandemic, when mental health is becoming much more apparent and serious for the general population, if schools really committed to taking care of their students in the form of mental health awareness and mental health resources, I think attendance rates would change a lot.